Hello, welcome to The Kitchen Chemist. I'm your boy, amateur pro home chef Nathanael Levinson, and we're making dumplings. Rolling. It's live. So today we're going to be making Manti. This is a Turkish dumpling that's typically served with a yogurt sauce. So this should be a fun one. For the dough, you'll need flour, salt, and eggs. Filling, you'll need onions, ground beef, and some seasonings, and then yogurt to make the sauce. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get the dough together. So in our mixer bowl, we're going to combine 2 cups of flour with 1 teaspoon of salt. And to that, we're going to add 2 whole eggs, and then we'll slowly incorporate water just until the dough comes together. Again, we don't want this to be a sticky dough. We want it to be a fairly firm dough. All right, since we've got a nice taut dough, we're gonna put this in plastic wrap and let it rest for a half hour. Now that our dough is ready, it's time to get the filling for our Manti together. It's a very simple one, and keep in mind, for dumplings, the filling is your canvas. It's where you get to kind of make your own unique spin, add whatever flavors you want. So for the Manti, we're gonna be using about 1 pound of ground beef. Now, I'm using a 85-15 lean to fat ratio. Generally for dumplings, you want to use less fatty, more lean cut of meat, because the more fatty it is, the more juices it will let off, and that can lead to leakage. But it's a personal preference. It's not that big, not that big of a deal if you choose a more fatty cut. So to this ground beef, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of ground black garlic. If you don't have that, that's fine. You can get it at Trader Joe's. And a teaspoon of salt. Finally, I'm going to grate in an onion. So now we need to mix this all together. Now, what's important whenever you're doing ground meat fillings is, if you just leave the ground meat as is, the less you handle it, the more closer the texture will be to a hamburger, right? So the finer you grind it, it'll get like a smoother paste, it'll alter the texture. So this really depends on personal preference. I personally like it a little smoother. So I'm gonna take a potato masher and I'm going to get this real good and mixed, not quite to a paste, but I wanna kind of pulverize it, break up those little chunks, make sure everything's really well incorporated. And once I'm happy with that, I'm gonna switch to my hands. Just kind of knead it, break up all the little chunks, mix it around. You can add a little bit of water to help you if you're having trouble with it, but for the most part, the water from the onion will be sufficient to help kind of emulsify the fats. You wanna break everything up. You wanna get it almost, not to a paste, but finer than it comes ground, for sure. So just kind of work that until you're satisfied with the texture. And so we'll set that aside until we're ready to roll out our dough. All right, so now we're ready to roll out the dough for our Manti. So we're gonna flour our work surface. Make sure our dough is well floured on both sides. This one's a little sticky, so just make sure you get flour on it so it doesn't stick anywhere. And we're gonna roll it out to 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch thick. So once we've rolled it nice and thin, we're going to cut it into roughly 2-inch squares. This doesn't have to be super precise. I'm just gonna use a pizza cutter, try to be nice and even. You can use a straight edge, will probably make your life easier. Now we're going to add our filling. Now we do not want to overfill these, so I'm going to be using a small ice cream scoop. You can use a teaspoon, tablespoon. Just gonna put 1 dollop right in the center of each piece of dough. You can make Manti much smaller than this, but I have big sausage fingers, so I struggle to make Manti smaller than this, but you can make them smaller. These are gonna be some big boys. All right, so we're gonna take the Manti, we're gonna join the 2 corners on top. Manti. Python.
Did you say
I said Manti. I meant to say Manti. We're just gonna join them into this little purse and crimp the edges shut. So pinch the top and crimp the edges, and you get this nice little pouch. Now that our Manti are ready, we're gonna get a pot of water, bring it to a boil, lightly salt it. We're gonna drop the Manti in for about 8 to 10 minutes. So again, these Manti are a bit on the larger side. Typically they're smaller than this, but I just can't make them smaller. I'm incapable. So I prepared a yogurt dipping sauce. It's a traditional yogurt dipping sauce, but I veered a little bit away from the traditional recipe. So this is just plain yogurt with a spoonful of sambal, which is a chili paste chili sauce, as readily available at all grocery stores. A little bit of extra virgin olive oil and a little bit of smoked paprika, and just stir it to combine so it's a little spicy, a little smoky, and it should be the perfect accompaniment to our Manti. But I'm gonna taste it without that first. The smoked paprika really emphasizes everything. So if it's too smoky for you, pull down the paprika. If it's not smoky enough, put in more paprika. But that's the dominant flavor in this right now. Very good. I love that smoky paprika. So I'm gonna dip it a little bit in the yogurt sauce. The yogurt, the tartness and creaminess of the yogurt is a perfect contrast to just the savory meatiness of this dumpling. This is excellent. So, until next time, I'm your boy, amateur pro home chef Nathanael Levinson. It's Istanbul, not Constantinople.